Good afternoon, YouTube family. My name is Anthony. This is Palmetto Prepared, and today I wanted to talk about something that's near and dear to me because I'm a part of this unfortunate group, and that is prepping with a disability or being prepared while you're disabled. Now, being disabled has a broad spectrum because, you could be completely dependent, being, like you have cerebral palsy or some very unfortunate, genetic disorder, or say you have like my mother who has her thyroid removed, so you are dependent on medication, type 1 diabetes, that kind of thing, or it can be something as like a mental disorder, anxiety or depression, or you name it. So it could be something like that, or it could be something like me where I have a physical disability. Now, I'm going to get into, what you can do per whatever, but it's just one of those things that I don't think a lot of people think about in terms of being prepared, because a lot of these channels out here, and don't get me wrong, it's not their fault, but a lot of these channels will focus on being physically prepared, or they completely forget about being disabled. Now, that's not their fault, because if you are not disabled yourself, then, or you have a family member in your household that is, it's not something that comes to mind immediately. And, that's fine. But it's one of those things where I think a lot of the population that's really thinking about the future and being prepared, there's quite a few of us out there that are disabled. Now, I lump myself in this situation, and I'll go ahead and get into the backstory. When I was in Afghanistan in 2010, I unfortunately suffered a pretty catastrophic accident in terms of my knee. I'm not going to get into the details of what actually happened, but all I know is all I'm going to really say is I took 2 years of trying to rehabilitate it, and it just didn't work. My kneecap keeps wanting to slip out. My knee kept wanting to basically pull apart. I'm one of those unfortunate individuals that's, once you have a catastrophic accident, your ligaments and all that stuff, I'm hyper flexible, so my tendons and everything else were just stretched, and they would never go back in the same way that they were supposed to be. And let's face it, with that being the way it was, I couldn't have a normal quality of life because my knee kept wanting to basically come apart. So what ended up happening was, prior to my first enlistment, I had knee surgery to try to fix that. And let's face it, it was, I wouldn't say completely unsuccessful, because now the slipping and coming out of place is drastically reduced. The unfortunate part is I got 2 screws in my knee that they go all the way through my bone, and I can't ever kneel again. I can't ever run again. I can't crawl, do low crawls and all that good stuff. It's just, unless I'm hardcore padded, but it's still extremely full of discomfort for me. So when it comes down to being physically prepared, I can't be like I used to be. I was a Marine for 6 years. It's one of those things where you get out and go run 5 miles all the time, or you get out and do this heavy marches, hikes, low crawls. You do all kinds of physical things, and I got to the point where I can't even play basketball anymore. Or, stairs can be difficult. So, food for thought for some of y'all out there that have disabilities like myself. An unfortunate side of mine is, since it's on my knee and the weather, that's why I live somewhere south, because I can't take cold weather. Cold weather really, really, really hurts it. And you just have to learn to adapt and overcome. And that's exactly what I'm talking about when I want to do this channel. So one of the biggest issues for me is mobility. And I know, being, a prepper, or if, things actually do, crap does hit the fan, SHTF situation does happen, then, you're going to have to run and crawl and basically do whatever you got to do to survive. Now, obviously, if my survival is in jeopardy, I'm going to run with the pain. I'm going to crawl with the pain and all kinds of, good stuff, because obviously I'd much rather deal with some pain versus, dead. I think, a lot of people would be the same way. But the things that I do personally to mitigate that is I have plenty of knee braces, wraps, all kinds of stuff to keep it in place. I got a knee pad, so if I do have to go through an area that I might bump it into some stuff, I can pat it. And the unfortunate side is like since I have a limp, it travels up to my back and down to my feet, and I got nerve damage and all kinds of fun stuff. So with this channel, you're going to see me not being able to do some things that other channels can do because they are mobile enough to do that. But the things that I would like to bring to the table on this channel are the fact that disabled are preppers too, and you can still be very successful with a disability. Now, what I mean by that is I have a mobility issue, meaning I can't run away from danger like somebody else can. So you know what I can do? I can carry a weapon and I can use it and I can be very proficient with it, so I don't have to run. Now, I'm happy I live in a stand your ground state, so I don't have to flee the area or be brought on with a crime for defending myself like some other states up there. Northeast, I'm talking to you, or West Coast, I'm talking to you. But stand your ground state means I can defend my property without having to flee. And since I have a disability, it makes plausible deniability that I legitimately cannot flee. So that's why I always carry a weapon, and that's why I'm very proficient at using it. Now, same thing can be said if you are having a mobile disability. Obviously you want to learn how to defend yourself and protect your family, and you want to do so using your disability. So don't let the fact that you can't run or flee or anything of the sort get in the way of defending yourself. Now, another thing is I can't do a lot of exercises anymore. So when it comes to cardiovascular, I can't run, I can't jog. Elliptical hurts. But one thing I can do is row or swim. Swimming is great for keeping cardiovascularly fit, and I'm currently in the process of looking around for gyms in the area that have a pool that I would like to get into. I'm kind of iffy about public pools, if you know what I'm saying, but just one of those things where cardiovascular, if you can't do a lot of physical stuff, go swimming. Swimming is a great cardiovascular exercise without any kind of joint issues. Same thing with if you have like a shoulder or upper body issue and you can't really do a lot of lifting, push-ups, pull-ups, all that kind of stuff. I can actually do those since I'm a lower body immobility. But if you have a shoulder problem or a chest problem, like say you've had some surgery, back surgery or whatnot, you can get your legs, and so be it. Just work with your disability to strengthen the parts of you that work well. Now, I know there's a lot of older preppers out there, a lot of people that want to prepare that are considered elderly by today's standards, or they're retired or whatnot. And there are stories out there that the disabled are so afraid to walk around because they don't want to fall that if the power goes out, they'll stay in bed. Now, I don't think that if you are prepared enough, that should be an issue, because you need to have at least 2 forms of lighting, battery-powered lighting, on your nightstand, just in case the power does go out. You'll be able to see to and from the bathroom, so you're not getting out, having accidents in the bed or suffering from dehydration because you can't get up because you're too afraid to fall down. So there's, like I said, ways to mitigate that. There's also battery-powered lights that you can put all over the wall. Like I've seen things, Amazon has them, but so does Walmart and everything else. There's a little light switch with LEDs in them that are battery-powered, and you can just stick them on the wall wherever you need to. So if the power is out, you can go ahead and use those. And I'm gonna go ahead. I'll put those in the description. They're really cheap. They're like $4 each or something like that. Probably less the more you buy in bulk. But I'll put those in the description so you can see those. If you want to stick those around the house, it's a really good idea, especially for like a dark closet or whatnot. Good gift for your grandparents or whatnot. So just keep that in mind. I also make sure I put down battery-powered lights in the hallway, dark hallway, around the stairs. That way you can always see regardless if the power is on or not. And people that have eye issues or hearing issues, I'm basically deaf in this ear, so if I'm ever in a conversation with you, you'll most likely see me leaning like this to my left ear, my good ear. My hearing is basically gone to the point where, obviously blast side, all kinds of fun stuff, but a lot of ringing in this one, and everything's just muffled and it kind of runs together, so you'll see me do this. And obviously it keeps me more on guard. And at nighttime I get pretty nervous because I'm afraid if I'm sleeping on this side of the pillow and I can't hear something, someone breaks in the house, I'm not going to hear it. But I have a dog. Dog's going to hear it. There you go. So again, these are just simple ways that you can mitigate disabilities to make it so it's not so bad. Another thing, if you do have, like, say my mother has her thyroid removed, so she's on medication forever. I have a cousin who's type 1 diabetic, so her medicine, her insulin is extremely important, and I'm not going to sit here and say it's a death sentence by any means, but we're obviously making more and more advances in medicine the farther along we go, but you also have to talk to your doctor about ways that you can perhaps get an extra prescription, or if they can allow you to have another 30 days supply on top of what you have. That way you can stash it. I know insulin's only good for so long. It's personally not me. These are just ideas to try to keep an extra 30 days, because you don't want to be in the situation where you can't get your medicine and everything closed, and a loved one that you're a caregiver for is suffering because you can't get that. So you want to make sure that if you have an extra supply, a just in case supply, that you regularly rotate out in with your usual. That way you can survive, 30 days, 60 days, if not more. So just keep those in mind as well. And if you do have one of those higher end disabilities, like, complete motor function disabilities, you've had one of my friends had a tumor in his, basically a brain tumor, and it was wrapped around his ear, and they cut it out, but now he's basically like halfway paralyzed, and he's still trying to regain function, and he can function, but he can't really drive. And there's just certain things that he can't do now, but he does have a wife and a son that really do step up and act as awesome caregivers. Now, I'm not saying that everyone has that luxury, but it'd be nice to have that opportunity. So find people around you that you can really depend on, that you can lean on. I think that the probability of having someone who's going to take advantage of you is there, but not as much as some, caring and loving people that surround you. So really lean on family if you do have an issue like that. That's what's obviously having a family's for, but also bring something to the table. Don't just be someone that's sitting there like, hey, take care of me. Like, if you can't get up and do something, knit, write stuff, like use some of your knowledge, especially if you had a time in your life where you were mobile or you could do a lot of things. Use a lot of your life experience. Like, you can cook, there's a plethora of things. So just keep that in mind when it comes down to being prepared with a disability. You can still do it. You're not going to be able to do it as vibrant or as awesome as some other people out there. Don't compare yourself to other people. Compare your stash to what you're comfortable with. So if you want to stockpile some things, there's nothing wrong with that to help you. And if you have, say, a vision problem, then start getting prepared now, where you have emergency contact numbers that are written real big, that you have battery powered lights all around the house, that way you can actually see, or you make sure you keep everything kind of cleaned up at all times, just in case the power is out and you don't want to trip over something, or you have mobility issues where you don't want to trip over something, so you keep things picked up and you keep things far away to keep really wide clearing lanes. You get a dog, a handy, if you need that kind of service animal, you get one. That kind of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and end it. Obviously, I think you get the gist of what I'm talking about, but prepping isn't just for the able-bodied and well-off. You can easily be a part of this community with a disability. I am, and I'm going to be for, the rest of my life, because I'm that, prepared by nature. So I hope that sheds a little bit more light on this subject. If you got any questions, by all means, drop them down below and I'll totally answer them for you. If you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't, and I will catch y'all later, okay? Bye.